Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the video. Keith, Two Guys How To, and I was working on this red X drag racing buggy I got out of South Carolina, rewiring it, fixed another 350 ATC, and I needed a break from the bug here, and I decided I'd go on and show you guys how to do a Polaris. It's a 250 ES or an R, and it's down over this way, four-wheeler, an 86. And here's the carburetor for it. It's got this aftermarket crappy air filter because they removed the air filter box, so I went ahead and put what was on here, and I put some screws in just to hold it into this gasket that I have, and I notched this clamp so it would go around there and kind of hold it on. Better than nothing. So let's get into this thing. I'm going to show you how to rebuild it today. I got an XR, or actually a 200X I need to do. And we've got a couple other things here on the Kawasaki, but I've got some rebuild kit in here for this 250. So let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm going to show you how to quickly rebuild this. It's already clean. I cleaned it a couple weeks back. Rode it around, it was okay, but I just decided I'm going to rebuild it just to make sure I have all the gas and the float valve and everything right. So let's get into this and show you how to do it. That way you can fix yours. Alright, so I got this cheapy carb kit in. There aren't many carb kits out there, and I really only need a couple parts from this. So this was about 10 or 11 bucks. I really just need this float valve and a couple other things, and maybe this gasket. Customer's gonna end up selling this bike, so we'll give whoever buys it these parts. And they all ordered an aftermarket carb for it, and you can see the difference right there where that needle slide is. It's totally different in the millimeters. They said it will fit, but it won't. The choke's also mounted here. This one has a pull choke up on the handlebars. Relatively, they look the same, but you can just see the enormous size of the Polaris versus this Chinese brand one. And the slide is nowhere near what the Polaris is. So we're gonna return that, throw it in the trash, whatever, give it away, it's junk. So let's get down and busy. And I got my nice stainless tray here that I'm gonna be working on. And we're gonna take this float bowl off. So let's go ahead and take this off just real quick and see what's down inside here. And I got the kit. Hopefully the kit will work. And I drained all the gas out of this. Like I said, it was running. It just won't start on its own without a little help from some fuel in through the air filter. And it won't idle quite right. And if it does, it idles up and down. So I'm gonna just attempt to rebuild this car before I end up trying to find a used carburetor and rebuilding that one. Hopefully somebody hasn't been in here and messed with it, but that's the problem when you buy used stuff. So people want me to fix it. Usually I can get it fixed and they'll be able to sell it. So let's take this float bowl off of here gently and make note of everything that's in there. This one has the floats, like 2 pieces of candy that are permanently attached with these kind of slides down in the float bowl there. The gasket looks pretty good. I'm not going to really mess with that. I'm going to clean it out a little bit. I've already cleaned this thing a bunch of times, so it was horrible looking. It looks really good now. I just take a toothbrush down in there and I'll scrub that out. Slides are working good. I'm going to set that to the side. And it's got this needle, or this turkey foot that moves up and down that float valve. That's what gives your gas, lets your gas in and out. It comes in through here and goes in and out there, and this rides on those floats, and that's what makes it idle. And when you use up the gas, it keeps letting more gas in through that needle float valve right in there. So let's go ahead and take this this axle out. It's a float pin hinge. And I just use a little flathead screwdriver and gently pull it out. And set it to the side, and you'll see that needle right there. That's your float valve. It looks like a little earring. It's got a little clip right there. And please make note of the way that your float goes on there. So usually, or your float on this one, I call this like a turkey foot kind of deal. Looks like a claw. So we're going to set that needle float or the float valve to the side. Take this to the side. We're gonna see if it came with a seat. This is your float valve seat, and your jets are in here. And some of them got little teeny pinholes right here even, so you want to use a magnifying glass. And if those are clogged up, take this, I take speaker wire and I poke it through those little teeny holes. And actually I can see about 4 or 5 holes down in there, and I cleaned it before. But you want to make sure, and we'll take these out. These have holes in them as well. So let's check the kit. It did come with a new seat and a new gasket, so that's good. It came with a new float valve. It came with a new choke piece as well. So I'm going to dump this out onto this clean rag right here, just to see what we have going on. Some of these parts I'm going to save for later, and kind of pick and choose what we want to use out of this thing. So let's go ahead and take this, finish digging it apart. Let's see if this fits here. Start off by taking this center jet out. Set that to the side. You should be able to see down through there. That's where that slide pin goes, down in here, your slide, your throttle slide. Let's go ahead and just spray that out. And if yours is really bad, like I said, I've cleaned this one, you can take brushes down to everything. They make these carb cleaning brushes, and you just run it down in through there and clean all that out. So, and it looks like there might be one more jet way down there. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that out with this flathead screwdriver. Start matching our pieces up. Remember, take pictures and make notes of things. You can see there's a little teeny jet. Once again, it's got holes in it. You want to poke those out with that speaker wire. If you don't have a rebuild kit and you're just watching the video to clean it, to get it running right, those will poke through all the way through there. And all the way through the middle, up and down. So if you buy one of these little carburetor brush kits, it comes with multiple sizes and brushes on there. And these will go right up through it. Some of them will, some of them won't. Just keep checking your size and just blow them out. We're gonna swap all these parts out, so I'm not worried about cleaning them. I already cleaned them. I know they're squeaky clean. And let's go ahead and spray some spray down where we took out that last jet, as well as right here. Let's go ahead and check this with a magnifying glass, see if there's any holes on there. If you don't clean everything out, it will not run right. Yeah, and there's 2 holes there's one hole at the top and one hole at the bottom, and they go all the way through. So let's go ahead and get our thinnest wire right here. It's like, kind of like a guitar wire, a guitar string. And see if we can just punch that thing through. If not, we're gonna have to go with that speaker wire. It's even skinnier. And I just took a piece of speaker wire and I strip it down, and then I run it through there. Let's see if we can get up in there real fast, because it's getting late and I got other things I need to work on. They look pretty clean. I can see all the way through them right now. So I think they're clean. I cleaned them before, but I'm just showing you guys how to clean them. You want to make sure they're clean. Poke that hole, poke all the way through it. Clean it out. And then you also want to go up through the center there. If you can get a skinny wire, that's even better. And just clean that thing out. Make sure it's clean. Let's spray it. Any hole or anything like that, it all serves a purpose. So make sure it has flow. You can see how that one's coming through, just sprayed back at the camera in both directions. So it's pretty clean. Let's go ahead and get this seat out of here. Looks like about a 10 mil or 12 millimeter. So let's see if we can just hurry up and get that out and get this thing tuned up real quick. Looks like a 10 mil. Let's take the seat out and make note that it has a gasket on it as well. And usually those will come with these little red gaskets. So I just leave it all alone. That's where that float valve's gonna go from your floats pushing up that valve up into there. And if not, clean it out if you're just cleaning it. If you're gonna rebuild it, don't worry about it. And you can blow down through where your gas goes and you'll see it drip out down there. That means it's good to go. It's good. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit because I don't want to get the CRC. I'm using the CRC non-chlorinated. You don't want to get that on this rubber, this new float valve. This one's actually all metal. Some of them have rubber right at the tip here and it'll swell up everything. It's not too abrasive because it's not ruining my gloves. So that's why we use the non-chlorinated. But I'm just gonna let that thing dry for a quick second. I'm actually gonna get this rag up inside there just to kind of scoop around in there. This bike's been sitting for a while. I got it running again and it's ready for sale here shortly. Hopefully by tomorrow. I'll have it done tonight and they can advertise it. Yeah, it looks clean, incredibly clean. So let's go ahead and get our new seat, and it comes with that new gasket. And it's a tight fit. Sometimes you got to screw that gasket on there. I don't know why they would make it so small like that. Not really feeling that. They should have made it a little bigger. You don't want to break it because we don't have another one. Yep. It's always something when it comes to this stuff. You definitely need a new gasket. If not, I'll reuse the old gasket that was on there. But it should have, let's compare the sizings on them. Yeah, you can see there's a big difference. Big difference. So I'm going to use that new seat, but I'm going to use the old gasket. So if I try to keep pushing this on, I don't think it's going to go. I can try to screw it up on there. They just don't make things the way they used to. Yeah, it should just go right on. You shouldn't have to force it on there. I don't know why they would give you a new seat and a gasket that doesn't work, so let's go ahead and just reuse the old one. I'm not worried about it. It should seat up in there fine. So now we got the seat mounted in there. We'll keep all this other stuff as parts. We can go ahead and change out our middle jet there that we took out. Remember, we took out that pellet jet. And let's match it up to see if this is even the right bike. It actually looks pretty dinky to me. I think I'm going to reuse the old jet. And you can double check by pushing your wires up through there. The new jet's actually bigger than the old jet, believe it or not, which might be a good thing. Definitely way bigger. So the question is did somebody go in here and change out the jet? I'm gonna use the one that it came with. It's not as tall as the one that was in there. But you know what, we're gonna try it. Let's tighten that down. Yeah, I'm not really feeling it, but I'm gonna run with it. And let's go ahead and check that other jet that we pulled out of the bottom here and match them up and see how they look. Look pretty good. It's got the two holes. And I'm going to look at them under the magnifying glass. Yeah, there's 2, 4, there's 8 holes, so looks pretty good. Looks like a match. Let's go ahead and put that down in there and tighten it up. Just, you want to snug these up, you don't want to kill them. And then we're just ready for that, the float valve. So you just want to hang that right on there. It just clips on there like that and hangs like that. It sits right down in there. And let's grab that float pin. Sometimes I'll just tap these in with the back of the screwdriver. That's locked in right there. Good to go. Nice and springy. And I think that's it. We could change the needle on the slide out there. Usually they come preset right in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see that. This one's set in the middle. I think we're okay. I'm going to wait on this. I'm not going to mess with that right now because I know I'd rather have the Polaris stuff in here. And I'm not going to mess with the choke right now because we're not having any problems with the choke. So, and this is your idle adjuster screw. Or actually, this might be an air screw that goes in the side right here. So if we tighten this down, we'll know how many rotations it is later when we take it all the way out. So let's count full rotations. 1. So 1 full rotation, lightly seated. And then let's back this thing out. That way when we tighten it back up, we can go 1, and someone's been in here before. I don't even know if 1 is the right amount of turns. And this one looks a little beat up. And there should be a spring in there. Yeah, there's your spring right there. So let's match it up to the new spring. New spring looks good. I'm going to spray a little bit of cleaner in there, just lightly, real quick. I'm going to put that brand new spring down in there and that brand new air adjustment screw. Let's go ahead and tighten it all the way down. Lightly seat it. Actually, you know what? Does this have an O-ring? Some of them have O-rings on them. I don't see one in this kit. I don't see one here. So let's go ahead and just tighten this thing down. Let's back it out. I'm going to back it out 1 1/4 turns. I can go online and try to find out what the normal setting is. So that's lightly seated. I'm going to go all the way back out. 1 is what it was. I'm going to do just an extra 1/4 just to play it safe, and we can adjust that later. Once it's on the bike, we can fine tune that. That'll be when you rev it up, you can adjust this screw so it zings all the way up if it's a little choppy. So we're good to go. These are good. The float looks good. Let's go ahead and put this thing back together. I don't think we're missing anything. I don't see anything. And I got a little bit of anti-seize grease on these bolts. Real quick, just so we can get this back out easier later and work on it. This is a Permatex anti-seize. I just put a little bit on there. Trying to make this video quick. I got other things I got to do tonight. And let's go ahead and tighten these bolts down. Just snug them up. Just touch the base plate now, the float bolt base plate, and then we'll tighten them in a crisscross pattern. It should be fine. And if we want to change that gasket, we can. I'm not noticing any leaking, so I'm going to save this one as backup. And it looks like there's another little teeny gasket in there as well. I'm going to have to look at the carb diagram to see where that goes. That might be part of the choke assembly, which I'm not going to mess with unless you're having problems with yours. I wouldn't mess with it. All right. Done deal. Let's get over to the bike, put this thing on, see if we notice a difference. I know it'll work. If not, I got to do another compression test on it. And that's pretty much how you rebuild the carb on your Polaris 250. Almost any kind of carburetor, dirt bike, four-wheeler, they're all relatively the same unless they got a throttle system here, like on the 350X. It's a big throttle, cable throttle that comes in instead of the slide. And when you put the slide in, you got your idle adjustment. You could take that out if you wanted to clean it. We can go ahead and excuse me, take that out now. Just count the number of rotations. You can always adjust this if the bike's idling too high. So let's just spray a little bit up into there and clean the tip of this needle off. So when you put that needle slide back down in there, it should always line up with this throttle adjustment. There's a notch on the slide that'll go in there, and I'll show you that real quick. All right, and if you guys wanted to change this choke piece, I looked at it, they look relatively the same. I'm just gonna go ahead and push this up. It's a little tricky. You gotta push the spring up and hold the spring with a screwdriver or your fingernail and get it out of here. I shouldn't even mess with it because it's not gonna go. I'm outside and it's almost out, but it's gonna probably be even harder to get back in. All right, well, it's off, so that's a done deal. So let's push this back on using that spring, the same spring. And just push it down and get that back in, get that pellet back in there. There, that's pretty much it, done deal. Check it like this. Good to go. Spray this off with that CRC and that needle slide right there. You can see it. The kit came with one. I didn't change it, and I didn't change the float height at all. And what I was saying about inside in the garage there, you got this little cutout here. That cutout lines up with your idle control on that carburetor. And so you got this idle adjustment screw here. That cutout right there needs to line up with that. So if you put it right in there like that, you line that notch up to that and just kind of spin it a little bit. Sometimes you got to get that needle right there lined up down in that bottom hole. And just pull it in and out a few times, just be real patient. And get that notch lined up with that. Shake it a little bit. It should go right down in there. Sometimes when you drop it in, it changes position. There we go. So I'm gonna tighten this top cap up, snug it down, make sure that gasket's lined up in there. And we're gonna get this choke back down in there in that hole with a 12mm and see if it fires up. And sometimes on these, if you want to double check the throttle, click it a couple times and it popped right down in there. So we're good to go on that one. Snug that up. Let's get this choke back in there. All right. Make sure that's nice and straight. And let me tighten up these clamps, get a fuel lines hooked back up and see if she fires up. All right, so let's fire this thing up real quick. It's getting dark out here. I'm not trying to piss the neighbors off, but let's fire it up real quick. I'll shut it down and end the video out. Good and loud and powerful. So I'm gonna repaint everything, strip that stuff off, put it back together, and get this thing ready for sale. So again, Keith, 2 Guys How To. Save that money, fix it yourself, buy more toys, buy more parts and accessories for all of your toys, and I'm out. Have a good evening. Peace. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.